I try to do this at the beginning of each week. Don't always succeed, but we're going to do it today. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Vicki and you're with Grammy in the kitchen. First we're going to start off with an ice cold glass of kombucha. This is actually a honey, lemon juice, and ginger. And because it has those pulps in there from the ginger, I do want to strain it into my glass of ice. And I'm making a mess. There we go. And we're just going to sip on this as we move through the day. So what do I have planned today? We need to go into our freezer and get out the proteins we're going to need for this week's meals. I do not meal plan per se. I do take out a variety of meats from the freezer, put them in the refrigerator, and then I think of something that day to use those meats on. I need to fill all of my kitchen staples. I wrote a list of the things we need to fill up the kitchen. I have them in this green tub, plus some 5-gallon buckets behind me. We need to make our dessert for Sweet Thursday. That video came out last Thursday. Make sure you check that out. And I've already picked up my milk and eggs this morning, but I still need to separate the heavy cream from the milk. And yesterday I made pizza dough, have it in the refrigerator doing its proofing, and I need to make pizza. One of the pizza doughs we're going to turn into something else, and hopefully you'll see that video this Thursday. So grab you a beverage of your choice. Mine's going to be kombucha, and let's get this day started. My basmati rice needs to be filled. Oop, I made a mess. I only keep 2 different rice in my pantry. Jasmine rice and basmati rice. Jasmine rice I use most. Basmati rice I don't use as often. That's why I only have a quart-sized jar. That I keep in the island. And I keep a couple bay leaves in with my rice. That helps deter any kind of pest getting in your rice. Or any of your dry goods for that matter. Alright, so that's one thing off of our list. Done. And now I need to fill my olive oil. I put it on a kitchen scale. I tear it out to 0 in pounds because it holds a quart or 16 ounces of oil. And I don't fill it up past 14 just in case there's a little bit left in there and we don't have overflow. So I'm going to put 14 ounces of olive oil in my container. Perfect. I still have plenty of avocado oil, so you don't have to worry about that. So we have 2 things checked off our list. And now I need to fill my little jars with my herbs and spices. All right, let's start. Let's start with the Italian dressing mix. This is a different funnel. It's not the one we had oil in. This container is for Italian seasoning mix. And now we're doing oregano. And onion powder. So now I can put this back on my spice rack until we need them. Basmati rice can go back into the island. Now we need to fill our kitchen flour containers. So I like having 2 flour containers at the ready in the kitchen because I go through a lot of flour between feeding the sourdough starter, making the bread, all the things, plus baking, making gravies, making a roux in general for a bechamel sauce. So when I run out of one container, I'm not out of flour in the kitchen. I have a backup and I don't have to stop and fill that one up. I don't usually let them both go empty, but I made pizza dough last night and we went through a lot of flour. Because pizza dough, when I make it to go into the freezer to make my own homemade frozen pizzas, takes 8 cups of flour. And that gives me 6 12-inch pizzas. Add the old on top. And I gotta fill this one up. My sugar is good. My jasmine rice is good. I don't need to fill those up. Might as well leave this out because we're going to have to make something for Sweet Thursday. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take the 2 5-gallon buckets plus this back to the pantry. And then we're going to go into the freezer and pull out what we need for this week's dinners. Oh, let me check my butter. All right, so I only have one thing of butter in the refrigerator, so I'm going to go ahead and take one out. We need pizza cheese for the pizza. I think I'll take one of the rib roast out of the freezer. This is a local butchered beef that I got from one of the members of our Azure Drop. He has portions of cow that he sells legally. Family, it is legal. I'm going to take this out for one of the dinners. I'm going to take a 1/2 pound of bacon. And 2 1/2 pounds of breakfast sausage. All right, looks like I have a 2 count of pork chops. We need to catch some pork loin roast on sale so I could put some more in the freezer. So this is technically one meal. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out. I'm gonna take a pack of our par cooked chicken wings, and whatever night we decide to have pizza, we can have chicken wings. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, one more. And I think I'll take a pack of bone-in, skin-on, cut-up chicken fryer parts. All right, so we have our whole cut up chicken fryer parts, 2 count of pork chops, par cooked chicken wings, and our rib roast. That is the 4 proteins we're going to have for dinner. I have another 8 ounces of butter. I already have one in the refrigerator, so I'm going to make sure the one in the refrigerator is going to be in front of the one we just took out of the freezer. That way we're using them FIFO, first in, first out. And as for the bacon, I already had 2 half-pounds already in the refrigerator. I want to go ahead and put a big ol' X on these 2 to make sure they get used first before I use the one we just took out of the freezer. Same thing with the breakfast sausage. I have one that was already in the refrigerator. So I'm gonna put an X on that parchment paper to make sure we're using that one first. I think I needed a bigger bowl. So this is going to be a whole week's worth of protein, breakfast and dinner. And you know the dinners are always left over to be lunch the next day. Put this in the refrigerator and each day we'll pull something out and we'll make a delicious meal with it. So I picked up my milk this morning. I had it sitting in the refrigerator. And I do want to separate that heavy cream. I don't know if it shows up, but you can see right there, this yellow on the top is the heavy cream. The white on the bottom is the milk. Some weeks I get a lot. Some weeks I don't get as much. And this is not a lot, but it's okay. I will take whatever I can get. And this stuff is thick. It has not been pasteurized. And family, if you can get raw milk, local raw milk in your area, please do. There are so many stereotyping about drinking raw milk, but every one of those comes from the milk industry, the manufactured milk industry, to keep you from buying it. It's actually a scare tactic that they're using to profit off of over pasteurized milk. As long as you know your farmer, you get to meet your cows, and you know the farmer is doing everything possible in his or her capability to keep those cows safe and clean, there's no danger in drinking raw milk. And the heavy cream is worth its weight in gold. All right, I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit longer. I'm gonna put it back in the refrigerator just so that heavy cream can go back to the top because it's been stirred, and we'll get the rest of it out. Now I'm going to put this in the refrigerator until I can finish the rest of that milk to get up the heavy cream, and then I'll put it in the freezer for future use. Okay, family, we're going to leave it right here, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to pick this up. I'm going to go ahead and go back in time to last Thursday and make the sweet dessert. And when I'm finished with that, we'll pop back today and we'll get those pizzas in the oven. I'll see you last Thursday. And welcome back. We went ahead and made our sweet Thursday dessert. Make sure you go check out that video. It'll be in the description below, plus a link right there from last Thursday's Sweet Thursday. Now we're going to go ahead and make the pizzas for the freezer. I have made this video many times, but what I usually do is I par bake the crust with some sauce, and then when it comes out of the oven, I'll add additional sauce, some cheese, let it cool off completely, wrap it up in plastic wrap, and stick them in the freezer. And when we're ready to cook them, we can take them straight from the freezer, remove the plastic wrap, remove that top parchment paper, put it on a baking sheet, put it in the oven for about 20-25 minutes, and pizza is ready. I usually do just cheese pizzas, and if we want anything on them, we can actually add the toppings when we're getting ready to put them in the oven to eat. One of these pizzas I'm going to save for dinner tonight. One, I'm actually going to be doing something different. That's going to be a whole nother video. And the other 4, we're going to turn into pizza in the freezer. So last night, I had a lot of milk in my refrigerator, plus I had to pick up milk this morning. I went ahead and turned almost a gallon of milk into fresh mozzarella, and I just shredded that, so it's in this bowl. And then I have the mozzarella we get from Azure Standard. This is 1.5 pounds. I took it out of the freezer first thing this morning, and I want to mix these two together. That way we can have a lot of cheese for our pizzas. And I'm making a mess. It's not Grammy's kitchen unless we make a mess. Now, if you're interested on how to make fresh mozzarella, you can use raw milk or you can use store-bought milk. It doesn't matter. Simple ingredients. You just need citric acid and some rennet, temperature, and time. I do believe that's going to be enough cheese for 4 pizzas. Well, it's going to be 5 pizzas because we're going to have one for dinner. All right, I'm going to set that aside, clean up my mess just a bit. And I take my regular pasta sauce. This is a homemade pasta sauce, homemade, home canned. And then I just dress it up a bit with additional onion powder, garlic powder, and oregano. And usually this one jar is the perfect amount for 6 pizzas. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, and a teaspoon of oregano. Mix that together. And now we have pizza sauce. Okay, so we have dinner out of the way. I used 2 of the 6 pizza doughs for dinner. That video will actually be this Saturday. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see what we ate this week. One of the pizza doughs I'm going to save for a special reason. You'll see that video next week. Hit that notification bell, family. So that's going to leave us 3 pizzas to put in the freezer. But that's okay. 3 is better than 0. So I have 2 12-inch cast iron skillets in the oven, 400 degrees, warming up. That way we can make 2 pizzas at a time. 3 cups of room temperature water, 4 teaspoons dry active yeast, a 1/4 cup of sugar. Then I added a 1/4 cup of olive oil, 8 cups of all-purpose flour, and 4 teaspoons of salt. I'll let that mix in the stand mixer until a nice dough ball formed. I divide it into 6, put them in an oiled Ziploc bag, put them in the refrigerator, and let them rise overnight. So I'm going to roll these to about 12 inches. That way they fit in a 12-inch cast iron skillet. All right, that's one. I'm going to drizzle a little bit of avocado oil, and I have some polenta. If you have cornmeal, that would be fine. I'm just going to sprinkle that on the bottom of this pan. Put in our pizza dough. Can you hear that sizzle? That's a hot pan. I'm going to add a couple spoons of pizza sauce. Push it to about a 1/2 inch to the edge of this pizza dough. Put it back in a 400-degree oven, and now we can do the second one. Some avocado oil, small pinch of polenta, and the pizza dough. Repeat with the sauce. And in the oven. Set the timer for 15 minutes. I'm just par baking that pizza dough. When it comes out and it cools off a bit, we're going to add more sauce and the cheese before we wrap it up and put it in the freezer. So we have one more pizza to make, and that will be it for the pizza. Okay, it's been about 12 minutes, and that's exactly what I'm looking for in a par baked pizza. That's one. And that's the second one. I'm going to leave them on those parchment papers and let them cool off before we finish dressing them and wrapping them up. Let's go ahead and make the last one. Don't know why, but this dough seems to be more stickier than previous doughs that I have made. We're gonna make it work. You see what I mean? I have never had this much trouble before. Maybe it's just too much humidity in the air. And we're going to repeat the process. Avocado oil, a little bit of polenta, and our overly stretched pizza dough. And pizza sauce. In the oven, 12 minutes. And when that pizza comes out, we'll go ahead and add more sauce to them, add the cheese, let them cool off completely, wrap them up in saran wrap or plastic wrap, and stick it in the freezer. So we got our meats from the freezer. We filled up our kitchen staples, the flour, the spices, the oils. We made our Sweet Thursday. I cannot wait to share that recipe with you on Thursday. We made dinner. That's going to be on Saturday's video. We picked up our milk and eggs. We started separating that heavy cream. We need to finish that. And we got pizzas to go into the freezer. Not a bad day. The only thing I'm going to have left to do before today is out is get all the laundry caught up. I only have about 2 loads left, but I need to get them washed, dried, folded, and put away. And then we will be done for today. I'll see you in about 11 minutes. And number 3. So this is the 3 pizzas that will be going into the freezer. The leftover sauce in here, I'm just going to divide it between the 3 pizzas. Spread that around. And our mozzarella. Might be going a little heavy on the cheese because I won't need it for anything else this week. Unless I decide to make another batch of pizza, which I don't know if I will or not. I like having frozen pizzas in the freezer so that the husband can fend for himself if need be. Or in those days I just don't feel like cooking dinner, or we don't have leftovers for lunch. Now this is aged mozzarella that I get from Azure Standard. I buy it in a 6-pound brick. and I grate it myself, put it in freezer bags, usually about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. It's the perfect amount for 6 freezer pizzas. But we had 2 for dinner, and I got 1 in there for something else. And I have that much cheese left over. That's okay, it will not go to waste. We'll find something to use it. Put it in a Ziploc bag. That way I can put this in the refrigerator, and maybe one day this week we'll think of something to use that for. And while the last pizza was cooking in the oven, I went ahead and finished separating the heavy cream from the milk we picked up today. It looks like I got 1 cup of heavy cream. I usually get a whole pint from a gallon of milk. I've gotten as much as a quart before. I love that heavy cream that sits on the top. It makes beautiful Alfredo. If we have a lot of these in the freezer, which I usually have anywhere between 8 and 12 pints of heavy cream in the freezer, when it starts to get a little bit more than I need for 6 months or so, I'll turn it into butter, no problem. But I'm gonna put this in the freezer, and then next week when I pick up milk, I can just add to it. It's no problem at all. I can freeze fresh, heavy cream. It thaws and cooks with beautiful. I can even make whipped cream with this, just fine. I know a lot of the store-bought heavy cream does not freeze very well, but raw milk heavy cream freezes beautiful. So as soon as the pizzas cool off, we're gonna wrap them up and put them in the freezer, and I think we'll be done, except finish the laundry. So we can go ahead and wrap up our pizzas. So I have parchment paper on the bottom, the pizza, and parchment paper on top. I have my plastic wrap. Lay it in the center. Fold up the edges. Turn it a quarter turn, and I wrap it again. So that gives us 3 pizzas to put in the freezer. We can cook these straight from the freezer. We'll take the plastic wrap off. We'll take off that top parchment paper. We'll use the bottom parchment paper on a pizza pan, put it in a 400-degree oven, bake it until it's thawed and the crust is crispy and the cheese is melted. Usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes. And then we have pizza. This is great for when the husband or myself just needs something to eat for lunch. We could eat one of these for dinner on those nights when I just do not feel like pulling out all the pots and pans and all the things and actually cook dinner. We have our own homemade frozen pizzas. Now this is the Ziploc bags that we use to proof our dough. When we put them in the refrigerator overnight, I reuse these bags. I put a little bit of olive oil in the bags, put the pizza in there, and I let it proof in the refrigerator for up to 48 hours. This one I just did for about maybe 12 to 15 hours. And then I'll put these bags in another Ziploc bag, stick it in the freezer, and that way they're ready for us the next time we make pizza. Oils will go rancid once it has come in contact with food. These bags have come in contact with pizza dough. It will go rancid, so I keep it in the freezer in between use. That way I don't have to throw away bags, and I'm not wasting olive oil. And the next time we need to make pizza, we already have our bags. So if you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up while you're at it. Go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. I like doing things a little bit each day so that we can have a successful week, a successful month, a successful year of feeding our family real food made with real ingredients, even frozen pizzas. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. And I'm very happy to have pizzas in the freezer.